Hello.
Oh,
It's a duo.
it is a duo. It's a Sunday duo.
Woo. Hopefully, I learn how to act right because now I'm just so used to talking to you reckless about the show. I'm gonna hope I don't say any of that on the wax.
Well, it's all about intentions.
Thank you.
But it's also that this wild ass full moon energy, so we'll see what happens.
And it's in Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see. Happy birthday to Tonya, who is not here with us, but she's celebrating her birthday. So if you're on Twitter, give her a happy birthday shout.
Yay! It's
Hey.
Vanna Day.
We hope that you have an abundance of love, of money, of Brussels sprouts,
Star Wars.
Star Wars,
Every
all of
single one. Every single Star Wars.
it. How was your week?
It leaked.
I don't even remember what happened this week.
I had the worst menstrual cramps of my life.
But you do have a nice heating pad.
I do. It was strapped to me. Although, it also has like a vibrating setting, and I accidentally hit it in the middle of like a meeting. I was like, don't worry about that. I promise it's just my heating pad. They're like, what are you talking about? I can't hear anything. And I'm like,
Only the finest, only the finest. It's like heated and weighted. I'm like, yes, we want all of it. Give me
heat
all
it,
the
wait it,
amenities.
it straps on, like it's staying put. And I had everything. I had like I have it right now. Pillow, weighted blanket, heating pad. I was throwing everything at it. Yeah.
And that's how I live my life 365. So I just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Whatever we need for our deepest comfort.
thank you, FSA.
How was your week?
I didn't remember what happened this week, but I did watch Saturday Night Live, which I never do, because Pedro Pascal was on. I pretended to find it funny, but he looked great. He looked great.
I'm sure he can he look anything but.
Mm,
He is bae for sure.
he really is. And he's like BFFs with Oscar Isaac.
That's
So
too much.
it is.
It's too much fineness. I actually can't even talk about it. I'm starting to get a little flushed.
And I really just hope they're as good of people as like they seem. There are some people you're like, if there are bad things about them, just do not tell me. That's how I feel.
I really try not to look too deeply into men. Really anyone, but like men in particular. I'm like, sometimes distance is what allows love to thrive.
And period. You know what? That's exactly it. Other than that, I would like follow the saga of the balloon. Um so I followed that saga, riveting. And caught up on Last of Us.
Yes.
Ooh,
Same. So good.
so good. Nick Offerman, who
I
knew?
am so glad I was alone when I watched episode 3. I was like, I was going through something. I was like audibly sobbing.
Oh no.
Like, like that kind of like ugly crying.
Mm-hmm,
I was like,
mm-hmm.
it's just so beautiful and heartbreaking. So, that's my recap. That's my mini episode recapping The Last of Us. See, I'm getting like
You're getting misty talking about it, I know.
misty.
I didn't know Nick Offerman had the range, but he does.
He certainly does.
Well, so watch it, talk to me about it. But
Get
yeah,
some strawberries.
yeah. and just like hustling on the work front, and that's pretty much it. And did not really enjoy GH this week, and so that made me a little mad because it's my escape. So
I know.
ready to get into it. I have a little bit of a recap for you.
Oh, thank you. Good, because I don't remember what happened.
Okay. Felicia brings Charlotte to the safe house to see Valentine. Heart emoji. Stella's home. Double heart emoji. Y'all know I love me some Vernie. After a conversation with Trina, she sort of starts putting together that there's a family connection between them. But when she gets with Jordan, she finally lands the plane. She has some reservations about being the officiant at the wedding because of the potential secret. Brit's memorial is this week. For some reason, Sante attends, but it does serve as the springboard for the adventure to England to locate Esme's nanny, Maggie Fitzgerald. Nicholas calls in Liz's mom to wipe Esme's memory, but when she figures out that Esme is Prego, she refuses and goes straight to Elizabeth, not Lizzie, to tell her what Nicholas is up to. This sends Nicholas and Elizabeth on very different paths. Nicholas attempts to get Esme to sign over her baby to him, which Heather forcefully tells her not to do. And Elizabeth confesses everything to Finn and says that she's turning herself in. Which Ava gives Spencer Nicholas's fake confession to killing Esme as leverage. He and Trina watch it together like a viral TikTok, and Spencer uses it to gain advantage in the custody fight for his sibling, much to Laura's confusion and dismay. Willow gives birth to the world's largest preemie. She has a close call in the operating room, but ultimately comes out of surgery. Other things that have happened this week, lots of Ava Austin content. Austin's deep voice cousin and Nicholas have Ava in their sights. The Terlin / awful Me Too story continues. Trina and Joss have a conversation that definitely needs to conclude with more actual talking. Come on, Joss. And Nina might be on to Carly and Drew. That was the week.
What happened this week? Yeah.
That is what happened. What was your favorite moment of the week? How did you feel about the week overall?
I mean, there have been worse weeks.
Yes, certainly.
There was last week, Um, so there were things that I enjoyed, but overall I found myself being unswept.
Dusty.
Yeah, it was pretty dusty. It's been a little dusty the last couple weeks. I'm hoping that things will pick up. So I did appreciate definitely like there was some groundwork laid for things I actually cared about and some movement in stories that I don't love the writing for, but I love the performances. But I would say the standout favorite just force of nature was the return of Messy Ass Stella. I was just so delighted when she showed back up. And knowing, oh, so this is how everything comes out into the open. Like, we don't know exactly how the paternity secret is going to come out, but now that Stella is at play, I'm like, oh, okay. I've been dreading this story in a lot of ways, but also kind of like wanting to get it over with because it's been like lingering since they introduced Portia.
Right.
But this actually made me excited for the reveal because I'm like, oh, well, Stella's here. It's like Stella's messy ass is gonna bring this in, and like Yeah, I mean, the individual scenes were really great for different reasons. Love the scene with her and Jordan and all the comedy there. And then also the way that she shifted so much through the course of that and her attitude towards Portia, and then like the whole scene of Portia trying on her and Portia trying on dresses, and it was just masterful. So yay, Vernie's back. That was my favorite moment.
Yeah. Um my favorite moment I'll talk about a little bit later. But just in general, I love Black Hospital. Um Tanisha has just really found her own as Jordan. I think that when she came on, there wasn't a whole lot for her to do. And there's still not a whole lot, but everything they give her, she brings a little sass and attitude to. She like says things that are unexpected to me sometimes, and then like the way she delivers them are also like really unexpected. So when she was talking to Spencer, for example, and he was like, I don't know if it's whatever how tacky it is. Jordan's like, why not both? I was like, oh my God. Like I wasn't expecting her to say that. Her interactions with Portia, I hate that they're over Curtis, but I just like love to see the two of them work together. You know, Brooke and Tanisha are just so good. And they bring so much together. So just like that, I loved when Trina said something to Stella about going somewhere for her friend, and both Hat Daddy and Curtis were like, "Ugh, here we go." Talking about Spencer. It was just like they're so good. I just love all of their interactions. I've been really missing some Trina and TJ because I love their interactions as well. But just like Black Hospital, like really brings me a lot of joy in the midst, even when I don't love the stories. Just like seeing them on screen together and seeing these people interact with each other. All of these characters interact with each other, makes me happy. Um, so usually Tonya would do performance of the week, but I think they will both like offer that out. So I've been talking for a long time. Tell me, who is your performer of the week?
Ooh. It's hard to pick just one because even when the show is written the way that it is, you know, people are gonna act their asses off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say I think like Tonya often picks someone who like moves her. I'm gonna pick someone who keeps me on my toes. That's gonna be Vernie.
Mm.
I think that we often underestimate how hard comedy is. And she was just on top of every like beat, every opportunity to create like a really interesting, unexpected reaction. When she said, "You mean, do you mean to say that Portia and Curtis are kids?" Killed me. It completely took me, like, I was not expecting it at all. And the way that she delivered it, it was like Stella so believed that it was a possibility. And so there was like the reality of it, but also it was hilarious and completely took me out. But also like her conflict when she was with Portia, and both holding that she's really angry at Portia. She's like, what the fuck? You've been hiding my niece from me. You've been hiding Curtis's daughter. But also like there's love there. She feels for Portia. She's built this connection with her and has really like come to see Portia as one of her own. Just it's similar to the ways that she did with Jordan. So anytime we get to see a great like Vernie, I mean, she could literally be sitting there reading a soap opera digest in the corner, and I would want to watch her. But it was great to see her featured in this way.
Well, I would want her to be able to read something better. But um, but I so agree with you about her. She's such a great, and I hope that General Hospital fans like me understand like how important she is and how big of a deal it is that somebody as legendary as her like kind of graces our screens, because it is like that now where she's not in like a lot of story like she was when Mike was passing or anything like that. She kind of like just breezes into town and brings some like grace, some class, some funniness, some messiness, all of that with her. And so every time we see her, it's a complete treat, and it's because it's Vernie. Like everybody, just anybody could not play Stella. She is Stella,
Yes.
and I love it. And you can tell that the rest of the cast that works with her loves her and knows how lucky they are with her. My picks, I have two. I loved Nicolas Chavez, as always. We always love Nicolas Chavez. Um, and I loved Jeannie Francis this week. So I first want to talk about Adam Huss, who comes in and like is this Nicholas. And we have made no qualms about how we felt about Margulis, but he brought a humanity to Nicholas that has been missing. I never felt anything for Nicholas through any of these storylines. Since Marcus has played Nicholas, I've just been like, who is this man? I've not felt hurt for him. I've not felt joy for him. I've not felt anything for him. And here comes Adam Huss, like as a stand-in who clearly is like closing some story out, who at the very least knows that Jeannie Francis is a legend and that he better act his ass off when he's next to her. And so to see Jeannie be able to have this like very present and respectful scene partner and act off of him, their last scene where it felt like this was final, I like teared up. Yep. Like he felt like, I mean, that felt like her son. Mm-hmm. And she tried really hard with Margulis, but it was not like it was with Adam. I loved oh my God, Spencer, the way Nicolas Chavez played the scene where he was like repeating back the confession video. It felt like somebody different was writing that because the writing for that was so good. And the delivery for it was so perfect from Nicolas Chavez.
Yep.
And he has been playing opposite of Margulis for what, 2 years now almost? I've never felt that kind of father-son dynamic that I felt between him and Adam, who just got here.
Literally.
It was
I don't feel like they've been in scenes together before.
I don't think so either. I think that when he filled in before, they weren't in scenes together. Yeah. So, and even if they were, it wasn't in this level of like, we've built this relationship. It certainly wasn't that. So anyway, Jeannie Francis, Nicolas Chavez, just masterful, beautiful. I felt so much for them. I felt so much from Nicolas Chavez's portrayal of Spencer this week. Some of that was annoyed. Some of that, which is like what Spencer's supposed to do, right? Because he is a Cassadine. I felt sad for him when he had the scene with Trina. I felt when he was like talking about Britt. I felt the disappointment in himself from the disappointment in Laura. So good. And then when Nicholas called him a Cassadine and he kind of deflated as like Nicholas walked out of the room and Laura walked out of the room and he was like standing by himself. It was so good. Just Jeannie and Nicholas, so good. Despite how I felt about a lot of the material this week, they were like shining stars for me.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, they're both wonderful. They both are able to make it work. whatever they're given, whoever they're paired with. But yeah, I definitely felt the difference in their scenes with Adam Huss versus that other man who's not on the show anymore. And how much of a difference it makes when you have a scene partner who is generous, who is present and really like feeling and thinking like the character. And so what I appreciated about just the contrast of Adam is that with Marcellus, I almost called him Mark. So funny. I felt like he was like so opaque all the time. Like I was just like, is there anything going on here? And there are times to be strategically opaque when you're acting, especially on a soap opera, because there are things that you're supposed to be hiding often. But like, also, you're not supposed to be that opaque on a soap opera. Like, because characters will like just not pick up on the cues that the audience does. And that's like part of the genre, right? Like things are supposed to be kind of obvious to the audience, so much so that you'd be like, why is this other character not seeing it? So there was just something about like feeling connected to his panic, his regret, his shame, and also those not overtaking the scene so that the real kind of like stars of the scenes could really shine through. And so I appreciate that. That's actually like what for me was working this week was the performances in the cast iron ecosystem. Notice I did not say the writing. It's very much
Completely
the
noticed.
just really, again, to follow that soap opera, like let's go ahead and make it really explicit what I mean by that, and not imply anything. Yeah, I thought that, and this is always true, and you can feel the difference when everyone is pulling their weight. Especially in these like heavy hitting scenes that are the end of this arc for this character. And you know, no secret, like this character is going to be gone pretty soon, regardless of how he exits or whether or not he'll return. This is a really momentous moment. So there was part of me that's like, it was like, oh, it's like a little disorienting to suddenly like care about Nicholas again. It's been so long, I'd forgotten how to. And yet, because there was always, no matter like Tyler's Nicholas did some wild ass shit. You know, like,
yep, I was gonna say that. Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not a Jay Sammer, but I did.
We're all making mistakes.
No, I feel very good about my decisions. But I did kind of dip my toes in with Dream back when they were still J-Sam. And for the first time ever, I wanted J-Sam together. And Nicholas was keeping them apart. He was hiding shit, was hiding Jake Doe's identity. He was lying to Sam. He was like just, you know, one of many moments in which Nicholas was like ruining his own life. And my reaction in those moments was always like, bro, what are we doing here? Come on. Why are we doing this? You can do better. Like, I know you have it in you. Why are you disappointing me like this? Like, it's often actually like how I feel about Spencer. But with, you know, that has not been how I have felt about this version, the Marcus version of Nicholas. It's just mostly been frustration and like, who is this man? And so it shows the difference. Like, we can have all kinds of wild material. And that is also part of like, I think the hallmark of a really good soap opera for actors. Like sometimes you just get a script and it don't make any sense. And you have to make it make sense emotionally because you don't actually get to change what's on the page. And so it's like you trying to make what the writers work. Writers have created work for how you know your character works, and then also collaborating with the directors. So obviously this is going to be a short stay for Adam Huss. Welcome back. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for bringing some humanity and empathy to this character who is actually very beloved once upon a time. And like, I am actually really glad to feel reconnected to that character, even if it's not, you know, like my fave playing. So thanks, Adam. Good job.
You know, it hurts me when you talk about J Sam. It hurts me. Like, oh yeah, I forgot there were people who weren't shippers. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch Sexico after this. Anyway,
you do that. I'm happy.
No, I definitely agree because I actually had stopped watching for a little bit during like that time period, but Nicholas Cassadine has always been one of my favorite characters. And so I would watch, shout out to the YouTubers doing the Lord's work, because I would like watch Nicholas's arc on YouTube. So I was like kind of confused about what was going on. I was like, what is he doing to Sam? Like, what's going on? But you know, I love Tyler and I love Nicholas. That was also how I got my deep love for Spencer, because like he was part of that arc and the relationship with Spencer was grounding. And so I think that that was like the part that made Margulis's portrayal so difficult, because it wasn't just that he was doing these really awful things to Spencer. I didn't feel like he cared that he was doing bad things to Spencer. It was like, wait a second, this is not the familial relationship that I've loved. No. Did you want to say something? Like, I'm like, you're like, no, it's not.
Just no, yeah.
So I listened to Bradford and Steve's podcast with
thanks for taking one for the team.
With Marcus Coloma so that you didn't have to. And it was like a really interesting, like his whole take of the situation was really interesting. He was like, yeah, I was always going to only be here for 3 years. And they didn't ask me back, but I wasn't fired. I was like, really, bro? Like, it was just like, okay. And then he also like said something about like how he sometimes like didn't listen to directors. I'm like, oh, so you chose to do some of these things. I used to wonder how the directors would like allow him to get away with like not closing his mouth or whatever it was. And it was like, oh no, you chose to do some of these things. It was like a really fascinating. Bradford had said something to him, because Bradford is like very much, I think you said this, Sandra, he's like, you know, just like the really nice theater guy who's like friends with the jock, you know, like, and so he like, even in all of their interviews that I've listened to, Bradford like tries to bring out like the real like humanity and like those pieces of the interview where Steve just goes, that's awesome. I mean, that's the name of their podcast, so I don't know. But Bradford was like even trying to bring stuff out of him. He was like, yeah, because Marcus was like, oh yeah, I'm living in Florida and I'm like doing this stuff with my daughter. And so Bradford was like, oh yeah, like you're being like a person, like, you know, being like a person in the world, and that like helps your acting. And he was like, what? Like he just like kind of didn't like, he wasn't picking up what Bradford was putting down. What Bradford was putting down was so nice. And then he was like also talking about how his TikToks and stuff with Mo made them both better actors. And I was like, okay, sure.
Woo! Imagine announcing to the world, I'm undirectable.
And that I feel like these awful videos I do are like a sense of direction. See, this is the full moon because I was about to say something really mean. Let me move on. What was working for me this week? What was working was Sprina being in scenes together.
Yes.
Worked for me. There was some stuff I didn't love, like when Spencer said something like, "It was your job to who," like when it's your job to save me. I didn't love any of that, but just like the two of them as scene partners, um, and not I one of the lines that I did love was when Spencer was like, "I'll tell you, there's like no more secrets between us." I was like, "Whoo, we're so close to the couple era. I can feel it." I mean, they're basically a couple, but for them to admit that they're a couple era, like, you know, like, because everybody's like, your friend, huh? Sure.
Friend. Got it. Yeah,
Uh,
I loved that like, because I was like, please don't be on some bullshit. I can't, like, if you're gonna be on bullshit together.
and I love me because the other thing I love is some messy Trina.
Yes.
Ugh, they don't let her be messy enough. I love messy Trina. One of our favorite things was her messy ass plan to expose that Spencer was a stalker.
I loved it. It was so messy.
I love me some messy Trina. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that brings. But yeah, just Sprina as scene partners. I don't have to love the story, but let's get them in scenes together so that we can get to a story that I like. You know what I'm saying? Because I love them. I love the two of them as actors. I love the two of them as characters. I might not love everything that they do, mostly Spencer, but I do love to see them on my screen and them putting in their performances. They're so good together. Um, and so just like having the two of them on screen together worked for me.
Yes, I loved them. I loved what you said in the recap, watching Nicholas's video like it's a TikTok together. I loved the energy. It was so good. I loved Trina just being like giving Nicholas just like the stink face, just like, oh, you. But then like just her getting in deeper with how messed up this family is, and her being like, listen, I know about Ava, okay?
I'm under no illusions of Ava. Thank you.
Right. Like, just because I'm friends with her and I love her does not mean I'm like, you should definitely blackmail your father with the information she gave you. That's not quite how this works. That's not how friendship works. I know you're new to the concept.
She's certainly new to the concept of friends.
Let me spell it out for you.
Mm.
Mess. But I also, yes, not entirely Sprina related, but I loved the Spencer and Ava scene. Just both of them being a little suspicious, but also a little like devious and like, I don't totally trust you, but I trust that we have the same goal. So maybe we should collaborate on systematically dismantling Nicholas Cassadine. And then for Trina to walk in and be like, these two, what she hitting you?
You
What's all
two
that?
messy messes. I also love that Ava uploaded it as a link. Like, what? Ava was like, it's in the clouds.
In the clouds. If someone finds it, they find it.
Oops.
It's big. If he dies energy.
And well, and well, what's not working for you?
Oh,
What was
Lord.
not working for you this week? I know.
Well, I loved seeing Harmony again. Glowing, angelic, stunning, cheekbones for days. What was that about, though? Why? I just, why go through all the trouble of like redeeming Harmony? Well, first of all, to give her the exit that they gave her, which the mess I loved, but the inability to like hold her with complexity did not love. And I haven't liked the way that they've talked about her. It doesn't really feel in line with her character up until the end. And I feel like there are so many other characters who actually get the nuanced treatment that don't really deserve it. Where they're like, oh, well, she did these horrible things, but she also did these wonderful, she like, I would have loved to seen something from Alexis that was like, she was awful. She did these awful things to me. And also, like, I can't help but grieve the friend that I made. And similarly with Willow, like, yes, she did these awful things. I forgave her. She did more awful things. And she was my mother. And so to have her come back and try to like keep Willow dead also just doesn't feel aligned with who Harmony actually was as a character. I just have a really hard time believing that she would be like, yeah, Willow, being dead's really cool. Why don't you abandon your kids and stay dead with me? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it was a waste of Inga. And I think it would have been more interesting for her to encourage Willow, for like Willow to want to give up, and for her to be like, actually, I was selfish raising you your whole ass life. Go be with your family, and even like go give Nina another chance. Now that's not what I want, right? But that would have been more interesting. Like, I would have hated it if she said it, but I would have been like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense from a story perspective. And so it was just like a poor use of a great actress and interesting character that they did not expect that people would be so invested in, especially at the end when she was, with her giant ass syringe and her pushing terrible men off cliffs who deserved it.
They had it coming.
Justice for Harmony's memory.
I am glad you brought that up. I continue to be annoyed at them trying to do straight from the headline stories and then not doing them well.
Right.
And so the whole Dawn of Day story was supposed to be like a cult story based on like a real life whatever. And this is actually like a nuanced, real story to tell that they did not tell well. And the thing about Harmony is like, yeah, Harmony did awful things, and Harmony was a victim of this. And so, to your point about the arc of like her redemption arc, part of what makes me so mad is that her redemption arc was done so well. It was done in like the very ways that we would want like a real life redemption to be done, where she took the time to herself. She gave Willow the time to like, accept her back in her life. She always took responsibility for what she did. She never, when people weren't fucking with her, she was like, I get it. Like Sam was always not really feeling her, and she was like, I'm not mad at Sam for that. Like she just like did the things that we would want someone to do in a redemption. So for them to think that they tried to ruin her at the end, I'm like, well then, what was the point of you actually using like what people in restorative justice use as redemption so poorly? You know what I'm, or like so to like do this to her into this character. And that's why I balked at it. I was like, no, she's still redeemed to me. And you certainly didn't make me feel bad about her going after Neil when I found out first of all, Neil was a piece of shit, but like as a therapist, ruined Alexis's whole fucking life. No, like whatever. Piece of shit as a therapist. But then as a therapist, you're a mandated reporter for certain things, and nothing Harmony told him, he would have been mandated to tell. And so for this therapist who's supposed to hold your secrets and you're supposed to be able to like say whatever to, and then to like use that as leverage to threaten her, you think I'm gonna feel bad because Harmony killed him to hold into her story when he violated her again, just like Shiloh violated her? But because Chris and Dan and the people who are writing this don't have that range to understand that, the people who did feel some like sympathy for Harmony, they didn't understand why. I liked her. And to your point, I don't think she would have come back to tell Willow to die. I think she would have come back to say, I worked really hard to make sure that you had a good life. Or I left you with, like these are people who I trust, or whatever it was. Like I know I messed up your life. I don't want you to like give it up. Not come with me and let's die together. And I know that was like a Willow dream, and maybe that's what she thinks of Harmony now, but it just wasn't. I wasn't feeling it.
How am I supposed to know the difference between character dreams and real GH ghosts? I mean, I totally choose to believe that it was a dream because it doesn't make any sense to me either way. But yeah, like, I just don't. What kind, also, like, when we redeem men on this show, they don't have to go through all that. And then they get to wallow in their man pain about how nobody understands them. Or you can be like Nina and just like cry and play the victim all the time. So it is interesting, like contrasting Ooh. Willow's moms and like which one's supposed to be rootable and which one's not.
Well, yeah, I think that some of the conversation, and I alluded to like my annoyance with Soap Opera Digest earlier, because they've actually been printing, I think, some really irresponsible letters from fans. So there was like one that was like about like Joss, that was like super slut shamey and like mother like daughter kind of thing. And then there was like another thing that was last week that was about, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was about, but it was about Nina and Carly not paying. And at the end, it like went into this thing about her. Like, it was just like really, I was like, what the hell is this? But what I've found is that in either a conversation or in like things I've seen, nobody actually ever puts Nina's behavior up against Nina's behavior.
Right.
It's always in contrast to Carly or contrast to Harmony. So like there was actually people who were upset that folks liked Harmony because people, like a lot of the same folks, me, don't like Nina. And it's like they actually were two different characters in the ways that they've gone about redemption. Look at the redemption arc, not just like the redemption that Harmony did herself, the arc they put her through. Isolation, working at Spring Ridge, the only like she like didn't have anything. She was at rock bottom. And then she like built her way back up through the friendship with Alexis. And then being like, invited back into Willow's life. And even people who should have smoke for her still had smoke, because Shay still had smoke for her. That's not Nina's reality. So, I think that that's just like an interesting thing where it's hard. Like Nina's behavior is always in comparison to other people who have nothing to do with her. Anyway, what didn't work for me? So let me start, because I always go from a deficit. One of my favorite moments of the week was Felicia and Anna. I love the Annalisa friendship. I love the history that it has. I love that the actual genuine caring that it has. When Felicia told Valentine, like, what did she say? Let me see if I wrote it down. But Felicia had said something to Valentine about like, he better not hurt Anna, that I really, really loved. It just, their relationship and their friendship is so, so good. And I felt some of that vibe from what the way they've always built out trust, Trina and Joss's relationship, where it was like, no matter what, these two people were solid. You could get like some really good exposition from them. You could get some relationship building from them. It was always really good. And I feel like they are not doing that right now, not for character development, but for storyline. And that's what I don't like. It's like, oh, well, Joss, like, we just didn't have room in the chapel for Joss to go to Britt's funeral. Or like, we want to like use, we want to like build out or draw out this relationship. So Joss is not telling Trina that she almost was killed and she's now with Dex, because we want to draw this out for storyline purposes, but not for actual character purposes. I don't like that. And I think that, strong female friendships are like a real centerpiece of telling good story on soaps. And of course, like, we love a rivalry. We were just talking about like Greenlee and Kendall, who they would go back and forth being friends to enemies to sisters, whatever. But it always felt character driven. And of course it was driven by storyline too, but like it felt like, oh yeah, they're in this position. This is what these two characters would do. It does not feel like Joss and Trina are in character positions where they wouldn't talk to each other. It's clear that they want Trina to like lean upon Spencer when this like paternity thing comes out. And so they're just like creating this distance with Joss. It just doesn't make any sense, and I don't like that. And so like, just to see how special the Annalisa friendship was, and like have it contrasted with like them just like tearing little pieces from Joss and Trina just to be doing it, didn't sit right with me. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I've been missing the Tross connection. And I'm happy that both of their pairings are taking off. But it doesn't mean that they need to grow apart as characters. And I don't want them to be isolated in the relationships. And that is one of the things that like the chaos split could do. Is that it makes it harder for the young people to be a cohesive group, which is fine. Like, there's always going to be rupture. It's a soap. It's supposed to be entertaining and dramatic and all those things, but also like, that's part of what makes a good young adult scene, is that like everyone's friendships that keep things cohesive and also up the stakes in the midst of romantic relationships and all the fallouts that go along with that. So we wanted 4 musketeers, not just like couple swaps.
Rumbles. I think that there's also something to be said. I mean, as much as I slander Soap Opera Digest, we're gonna like use them a couple times, but like, they did a interview, like an interview or a character profile with Chad Duell, who plays Michael. And one of the things he specifically pointed out was that it was pathetic that Michael didn't have friends. These are his words, not mine. It's pathetic that Michael doesn't have friends. He like so clearly, you're like cracking up. Because Chad left no, let me just like read you the very first part of the interview, because Chad just like left no, this is how he feels. They asked him, the first question was, what do you like most about Michael? He says, I'm not a big fan of him right now. Laughs. What? It was just like, seriously. And then he goes on to say, Michael seems to get really upset with Sonny and Nina and stay at that point for months, as opposed to going, you know what? It's not worth it. To try to tear his father's life apart comes across as malicious and out of character for Michael, who has been for so long. He's been a little over the top lately. So even like these actors are like, what am I doing? What's happening? I hate this. Like, so anyway, to go back to the friendship piece, like he specifically talked about, and we've actually talked about this being a problem for Michael, to like the fact that he has never had like a friend group. And part of what made Joss, I think, the most likable is her friend group. And so I would hate to see them like taking these characters down a road where they don't have that with each other. And like to your point, yes, it's a soap. Of course, things are going to be dramatic and fall apart, but we want to see the other side of it. We want to see the other, like, okay, we have drama, but we got to pull together for this thing. And instead, it just feels like everybody is continuing to be siloed, and that doesn't make good storytelling.
Yep. And like, I'm not a Jex stan. It's not really my thing, but I don't hate it. I'm mostly just like, oh, okay, that's a soap couple. They're soaping. Good for them. Good for their fans. Congratulations.
You're so diplomatic. It's because we got blocked by so many Chilean stands. You're like, okay, so listen, Jex fans, we're not trying to do that.
No, I mean, that's really how I feel. I'm not being diplomatic unless I am just diplomatic at heart. I just am like, we gotta need a little bit of personality here I need to know more about Dex. And I know that there are reasons why, and maybe we're gonna find out more about him as like Sunny has Brick investigate him, because that's like a thing now. I'm assuming he was calling Brick anyway. And so yeah, that's the other thing, is like I also just don't want Joss off in her relationship with this person that is very nice looking. He's got very slutty eyes. He's always giving people these slutty looks, and I like that about, I appreciate that about him. It's giving slut, and I love that. But I want to need more. I'm looking for more, especially with someone like Jocelyn, right? So, and her pairing shouldn't have to give everything to the character. So don't come for me, Jex fans, or come for me. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jex. I think they're giving soap. I like what they bring, but it's not the way I like other couples. Like, I don't know anything about Dex. If Dex did something wrong to Jocelyn tomorrow, I'd be like, whatever, you're out of here. And I mean, that's true for me with most pairings with men, to be honest, but like, I care about Jex because I care about Joss, not because like I don't care about Dex and scenes that are not scenes with him and Joss. No, that's what I'll say. So I like them as a pairing.
I like
him and Michael.
That's true. Tracy.
Him and Michael. First of all, I mean, it's not my fault that Dex is out here giving slut eyes, and he does give slut eyes to Michael. And that is my secret, not so secret ship of Michael and Dex. It's actually not out of character for Michael to bang one of his siblings' partners. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be mad if it happens.
I want Dex to be the new Abby. Sorry, I was referencing the fact that Chad interview killed me. He was like, well, that Abby was it for Michael. And I was like, damn, that was years ago. Chad's still out here pushing the not Chabby, the Michael and Abby agenda. And I appreciate his commitment to the ship.
Yeah, I mean, if you get your hands on that interview, or you can DM me, let me know. I will send it. That chat interview, I laughed the whole time. He held nothing back. He's like, I hate this story. I hate this character. He's pathetic. He need friends. And the best character, the best relationship he ever had was with Abby. Come at me.
It was it was giving, if y'all want to drag Michael, you're gonna have to get behind me because I'm first. Y'all tired of Michael? Imagine how tired I am. I have to put on the Michael suit every fucking day and be and live in this man's shoes, who I think is very pathetic.
He was like, I get this script, and I'm like, I'm still going after Sunny and Nina. Who gives a shit?
So y'all out there, if you're still dragging Chad on the timeline, leave this man alone. He's obviously been through enough.
He hates it.
Hates it.
He's miserable, and I love that actually. Anyway, see, this is what happens when it's just us. We need Tonya. All right. Hot takes. Do you have any? I have plenty. I just rewatched the show.
Not really. I have a couple. The first is just the thing that I've been saying every time there's a Chillin scene. I forgot about them. Yeah, what else is there to say? They came on and I was like, oh, I remember y'all. I remember why I've forgotten you. What is this story?
But also, can we bring back Christina for Blaze? Because I would like to see if they have chemistry.
Yes. Why not? Sure. Anything would make this story better than it is now. Because it's actually just about Chase. And Chase whining about being a cop. Like, I want to be a cop. And Brooklyn being like, I did everything I could. Sorry, I'm a bad person. And also, I'm sad because I've been abused. And him being like, well, that's not good enough. But I'm such a good man that I'm going to make sure you all couldn't possibly Me Too this man without me. Because we know what an important part men have played in the Me Too movement. You know, all those men putting their careers on the line for decades to protect women. Because that's what happened.
I'm disgusted. Like, I'm just...
His storyline made me dislike Chase. And I liked Chase, and I didn't want to before.
Yeah, that's right.
But he won me over with the gray sweatpants and being a puppy dog. But he's not a puppy dog anymore. He's just like a man who cries about not being a cop. And that's like the one thing that I try to forget about him.
And he ain't been wearing the sweatpants.
He's wearing way too many pants that have buttons and are tailored.
Yeah, I would say, you know, I constantly am thinking about how the show could be better. And I think that that's like one of the things that when I think about our critiques, I think about them that we're not like scrap the whole show. In some ways it could in certain places, but we're also always like, okay, so this is a story that we're being given. How could it be better? And so part of what I was thinking about with the Chillin story when I was rewatching the episode this morning was like, actually, what would have been better instead of any of the cop shit, like, why didn't we just tell the story of Brooklyn and Blaze being like in this situation with Link, and then maybe like Chase not knowing whether or not Brooklyn was gonna like give in or sell out to get her music back. Like that would have been a more interesting story. It would have been more centered on the women. I don't care about Chase being a cop. He talks about it so much. I have to imagine that Josh gets his script in the same ways that Chad does, and it's like, am I still talking about this? Like, who cares? We get it. You want to be a cop. You want it back. CRB meeting, it's happening, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, we could have told a much better story that wasn't centered on that. And that like actually showed Brooklyn as a schemer, because this story did not show Brooklyn as a schemer. It showed her as somebody who sends in emails late and who can't relate. I also send in emails late. Anyway, I realized that I had written fuck off, maybe because I'm so excited for Succession to come back, to so many people. Like, it was like, is that safe? Fuck off, Dr. Sunny. It was like, you're not gonna forgive Carly. Fuck off, bestie Curtis. Like, it was just like so many people that made me annoyed, and they were all men. Yeah.
Speaking of, I almost picked Curtis and Drew for what is not working for me.
I mean, yeah.
The only reason I did it was because I just don't care about either of those characters. So it feels redundant, but oh god. Curtis's whole personality is I don't like it when people lie. There's another part of his personality, but I can't remember it right now.
Have to save a white woman?
Yes, thank you. So that's not a great foundation for a character to start off with.
True.
But when, he became besties with Drew under Billy Miller. And Billy, what you need to know about Billy is he's gonna make it work, right? And he's gonna like bring out the best in his scene partners. And so like him and Danelle had chemistry, they had a rapport, it worked. And it was like a surprising friendship, because you would also never really see Danelle or do you see Curtis be friends with anyone who wasn't a white woman. So him being friends with Drew was like, oh, this is refreshing. Huh. It doesn't not a white woman. Who would have thought? And yeah, but it doesn't work with Cameron's Drew, because it's just like two people who don't really have like personalities, and they've also ignored like all of the character development and like history of Drew. So it's like, and then you just have them having this really annoying scene that's really just reiterating the one thing about Curtis that you could never forget, which is that he doesn't like lying. We didn't need a whole scene for that.
Unless Nina's doing it.
Oh, and then he loves it.
Because what I haven't forgotten is that Nina washed the ash of the Tano off and then went right to the Savoy and told Curtis about how she was keeping Sunny. And then when Michael and Willow came through, Curtis was like, not my white woman. So you make some contingency plans for some people lying.
White women? Unless they're Carly.
It's not Carly. And so he was like, it was like this, like the real from Curtis being like, I don't like what Carly did, with not even saying, was she doing it to get even? Like he just pretended like she just like targeted Nina for no reason. Anyway, fuck off, Curtis.
Fuck off, Curtis. And I don't know what's going on with you, Drew. It was weird. It was like Curtis was like, is it Willow in a coma? Drew was like, it's fine. I feel good for this wedding. The timing of the wedding, while like everyone's like dying and in crisis, having funerals in the ICU, like, sure. But Portia's like, sorry, no memorial for me. I gotta go try this dress on.
And like Curtis ended up not going to the memorial, but the fact that Curtis was gonna go, but Portia wasn't, even though we had a whole scene at like a coffee shop or something of Portia being upset about Britt dying. I guess that was the memorial.
Well, you know what? They didn't miss out shit on the memorial because my other hot take was, what was Britt's memorial? What was this? Why was Nina the one speaking?
In quoting the art of war?
Why was Maxie just sitting there?
I like her hair.
Her hair did look great. I did like I like the Albrecht and Brad scene. It was both like, oh, and also like, damn, she just dragged the hell out of him and used like, your pathetic ass life made Britt feel better as she was dying alone and being conned as a dying woman. So, like, don't ever think that you didn't contribute to my daughter's life because you were really there for her in her time of need.
Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm tired of mourning Britt. I think that the importance of her as a character is being engulfed by all of this mourning that's not necessary. I did love, though, in his eulogy that Brad brought up her and the doll. Now that
Yes.
I loved.
That is part of her legacy. It's one of my favorite things that she's ever done. It was giving.
Giving crazy, but yeah, I loved it.
Yes. What you need on a soap. She also didn't do it on purpose, okay? That doll just peed on her. I would have done the same thing. She didn't aim for the grill, it just landed there.
Okay. I love that everybody knows that Martin and Lucy are just gonna bang it out.
Banging it out.
Felicia was like, I left them food. They must be tired.
It reminds me of when on Parks and Rec with Ron and Tammy and the bag of peanuts for energy. That's what they were giving. It was giving like big Ron and Tammy vibes.
Now,
a little bit less toxic, but equally as voracious.
See, now you make me think of my favorite Ron line when he was like, his mustache got rubbed off, and Ben was like,
it rubbed off from the friction. This has been a big Nick Offerman episode.
It has.
Wasn't planned, but we're just feeling Nick Offerman right now. Oh my god. Oh, but also, speaking of horny kids, Vanna making out on the couch and then like scrambling to get it together. Loved.
Nobody is doing it like Vanna. I'm gonna take a bold stance, and I'm gonna say that Vanna is the best couple in daytime right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I guess it's not that bold, it's just the truth.
It's just the truth. It's a bold truth.
Can I also just say I love how big the Willow baby is, but that they made Josh say it was small.
That baby is so big. I can definitely see the resemblance to Snacky Wiley. You know,
Favorite Wiley.
The only Wiley that I recognize. Only happy when he had a snack. And that's definitely his sister. That's definitely his sister. I was like, okay. We got some like Viking blood or something running through these veins. Oh, sweet little Caroline Lorraine. I don't know what they're going to name that baby, but that's what that baby is named in my heart. Caroline Lorraine.
I love that. I would be fine with it. Um, Heather Weber. Men lie all the time. You can't trust them. Heather said, "Bitch, I might be crazy, but I ain't dumb."
That's right.
I loved it.
Not a single lie spoken for once.
This is like the advice you can give over a BLT.
Okay, I'm gonna not go on my full rant on this. I know GH just makes shit up when it comes to the law, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to just about anything, and that's fine. But like, you can't sign over your parental rights until a baby has been born. That's not how that works. A fetus is not a legal entity yet. That is actually what the right wing is trying to establish in real life, so that like the rights, like if a fetus is a legal entity, if a fetus has rights, those rights can overtake the right of the birthing parent. So I get like, oh, like some things just don't have to make sense. It's a soap opera. And this is like people's actual real lives. And this is like a real social issue that's actually been um, on the radar for decades. It's nothing new. And also is super relevant right now after we just had the 50th anniversary of Roe, or what would have been the 50th anniversary of Roe, because it ain't no more. And coming up on a year since the Dobbs decision, the Supreme Court. On top of that, you're having the other baby storyline be all about maternal mortality, romanticizing
Pro-life
it, glamorizing
propaganda.
it. Yeah, pro-life propaganda. So I'm tired of it. There's more to say about that, but I'm going to wait until I have wine and a blunt with Tara, and then we'll just have to talk about all of the Supreme Court precedents that don't make any sense in the context of GH. Catch that at another time. This is
Ooh,
just a review.
not SCOTUS is a not SCOTUS and GH. Woo. Controversial. I wish I was like more talented or talented at all when it came to editing, because I would have just edited over you the more you know. Because I was like, people need to know. Um, I mean, I have more, but I can hold a lot of that because I know we're gonna go through the February stuff. Um, I just want to like drag Nina really quick. Has there ever been a more annoying character? My God. Just like every time she talks about like, my daughter, my grandchild, my. Bye, girl. I've had enough. It's just, I get it. I understand that Nina fans are probably tired of folks dragging her. She should just be better. She should be a better character. But unfortunately, she's not. Unfortunately, she sucks. And the way they write her sucks. And so instead of like putting her up and propping her next to Carly and saying, well, look what Carly did. Yeah, Carly did all that shit. And I still like her. So now what? Where are we at now? Well, what about Harmony? What about her? I like her, and I don't like Nina. Where are we at now? Like, it's just I actually don't like. I like to watch characters who I love to hate. I don't actually love to hate Nina. I just hate her. And who wants that? That's not fun. I I yeah, it's just not fun. she drags down, like, her and Sunny just like drag each other down. When he was like, there goes the future. What? When they were like standing next to the when they were all looking at the baby, it was in you know, they were all looking at the big baby outside the window. And then, like, and all the great ways. I love me a fat baby, and that baby's not a preemie. Um, but he just like they just it's not giving. It's not giving. And Sunny like coming in to like Willow's room and being like, Nina's so excited. Why are you bringing up Nina to this girl when she didn't told you she don't fuck with her? Oh, are we not going to be able to see our grandkids? Who is we? Are you speaking French now? They let you see them kids if you want to.
Also, this is the question you're asking her before she goes into surgery.
It's just I just want her to be more likable. I'm never gonna like her. It's fine. It's in the same way I don't like Liz. I've never liked Liz. I still like when I don't fast forward through Liz. There are things that Liz does that I enjoy. I don't like it when people come at her sideways because, like, I didn't like when her parents came in because I'm like, this is my Elizabeth. Okay. I've been fucking with her for 20 years. Y'all ain't been around. So it's not, yeah, Elizabeth doesn't suck. like Nina sucks. And finally, let me say, I find it very interesting that so much of the poor Cam stuff happens around sexuality. So like it was all poor Cam when it came to like Josh cheating on him. But the bigger impact on his life would be if his mama turned herself in as an accessory to crime. But I didn't see poor Cam trending. So let's move on to the next. Sorry, it's that full moon Leo energy and no Tara or no,
have
no
you
Tonya.
eaten today? Have you eaten today? Did you eat?
We're not talking about that.
Okay. That Nina rant had an edge of I haven't eaten today. I know what a Nina rant looks like when you are fully nourished. So
let's talk about February Sweeps.
Yeah, so the much maligned Soap Opera Digest shared some February Sweeps spoilers from all the soaps via their writers. So I complained. We had a late start because I had to regroup the spoilers by storyline, and I complained very thoroughly to Tracy. Why didn't they just group these according to storyline? Why are they in this order? This doesn't make any sense. I'll try my best.
And let me also say this. I malign Soap Hub more than I malign Soap Opera Digest. And they
absolutely. Oh, I mean, Soap Hub's like not even comparable. It is trash. When they're like, do you want us to teach you how to disable ad blocker? No. I know how to disable ad blocker and I would never disable it for y'all. Really glad that we're not worried about access. Okay, so let's start with the storyline nobody cares about. Sunny helps Nina keep faith as their family threatens to grow and shrink in equal measure. Sunny seeks Brooklyn's aid in facilitating a truce. Poor Brooklyn. Poor Brooklyn. Nina warns Drew that if he is on Carly's side, he's against Nina. Michael and Willow are overjoyed by the birth of their baby. But a change in Willow's prognosis may cut their happiness short. And then, this is a very strange grouping. Carly and Drew's relationship is tested by the need for secrecy and Nina's curiosity. Carly crosses swords with the Teutonic Titan, Ulbrecht. And the spoiler was listed Carly, Drew, Ulbrecht. It made me think, I was like, is there going to be a love triangle? Like, what's happening here?
Now that I might not be mad about.
And it's related to Ulbrecht. Scott speaks up when Ulbrecht can't. Ulbrecht may have one thing someone else in Port Charles desperately needs. Scott's decision to assist a loved one may cost him another. Ulbrecht.
Is Ulbrecht a match for Willow? Like, what's going on?
I mean, I don't know. I don't care.
I love Nina saying that Drew is against her, because you know what? If the world is for Nina, it is me against the world.
Yes, I do know that about you. Let's see. Sam and Dante team up and go abroad to solve a mystery, like all the best couples do. And also, like all the best couples, may meet their maker instead. It is giving Vanna preview from the beginning of the year, like almost word for word. But if that's the story that Sante gets, if they get even like a fraction of like that Vanna energy, I'm not mad about it. Meanwhile, Cody gets a reprieve from Sam and gets word out to Dante when he perceives a crime may be in progress. I'm assuming it's about Gladys stealing Sasha's money.
Is that a crime?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anything could be a crime.
Soul theft, buddy theft.
Meanwhile, Sasha plays a vital role in seeing that justice is done. Sure. Brooklyn and Chase struggle to make something stick on Link. Maybe Sasha will be part of that. Who knows? Alexis's suspicions are raised when Gregory resists the offer of a plum job at the Invader. She makes a beeline for the police when her own sleuthing reveals a startling connection.
Is Gregory the hook?
God, I hope so. Gregory is in love with Maggie. And Esme is their love child.
Jackie Templeton is the hook.
Ooh, welcome back. We forgot all about you. Maxie. See, they gave Maxie. This is Maxie's spoiler. This is so rude. Maxie and her friends pull together to memorialize Brit. You mean her February Sweeps spoiler was her sitting quietly in the memorial and not saying anything?
I hope that that's the last memorial, because I'm not trying to see no more Brit memorials. I'm
no
done.
more. You got one. I know I made the joke about 4 funerals and a wedding, but there are other people who are gonna die, okay? Brad grieves Brit and finds surprising support in the form of his Aunt Selena. All I want to know about this is, when is Brad getting his money? I want to see Brad be a rich bitch. Okay.
I want Brad to be like, I'm a rich bitch and I smell like it.
Exactly. Okay. Let's get into the shit that actually matters. Is that everything else that I don't care about? Yes. Okay. As Curtis and Portia's wedding day approaches, so does a potential reckoning over Trina's paternity. Jordan isn't the only person who knows Curtis may be Trina's father rather than Taggart. Stella's absence is noted, and an innocent gesture on Trina's part may bring the Ashford family to its knees.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stella's just going to be like, actually, I can't do this wedding. Messy in absence? That's when you know you are that bitch.
Vernie said, I need to go shoot Bob Hart's Abishola. So you have me for a limited time only.
Use my mess wisely. Heather and Ryan take their act on the road and take Esme along for the ride. But Ryan refuses to leave Port Charles until he's tied up loose ends with Ava and Felicia. Esme's baby makes an ill-timed arrival. Is that baby going to be gigantic too? So it gets swapped with Caroline Lorraine. Ryan puts Mac and Felicia to the test. And then we have Laura strives to keep peace between Nicholas and Spencer, but there's no coming back from some transgressions. By the end of February, Laura will make a new enemy out of an old acquaintance. Anna and Valentine keep a low profile in Port Charles and collaborate with Felicia on a way to get the upper hand against Victor. Meanwhile, Victor is on the hunt for a missing family member. Mourning a personal loss won't stop him from achieving his goals. Ava's door is darkened twice over, and Spoon Island will run red with blood. By February's end, the body count will only be exceeded by the revelations. There better be multiple of both, Chris and Dan. I'm not gonna settle for like one body and then 2 revelations, okay? Give me my bloodbath.
I'm sorry to our friend Jen in the Netherlands, but I really want Mason to die.
Well, Austin's cousin Mason makes trouble, and not just for him. Austin's timing is a mixed bag. On the one hand, he's there to help one Port Charles residents with some dead weight. On another, he may just become dead weight himself. Dun, dun, dun. Are they going to kill Roger again and then bring him back as another character?
No. But did you peep that they let him and Becky finally be in a scene together?
They did. They did. Speaking of, Elizabeth completes her confession to Finn and weighs making another, even more consequential confession. Dun, dun, dun! To the police!
Poor Cam.
The truth about Esme has Cameron reeling. Meanwhile, Jocelyn and Dex confront the hard truth about their circumstances when he puts his future in her hands. And
Dex is sprung. My lord.
He's like, I'll tell you everything in 6 months. He's better start telling sooner because I need more information about Dex. Besides him being errand boy, as Spencer calls him.
A slutty-eyed errand boy.
Slutty-eyed errand boy. That's, anyway. Let me not. Finally, drum roll. Trina and Spencer arrive at a momentous turning point as they face huge reversals separately and then together. And that is the sweeps preview.
Let's get it. # Sprina.
So, who do you think's gonna kill Nicholas?
Do you have a walk-on role that you haven't told us about?
If I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But unlike some people, I've been told I'm very directable. You only have to tell me once.
I feel like, damn, I mean, is it gonna be Ava and Austin? I don't know. Is Nicholas gonna really be dead? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, what I kind of feel like happens is that he goes over the parapet or something like that, and a person who was there to kill him is the dead weight that Ava and Austin have to get rid of. Because they can't be getting rid of Nicholas's body because that means that we don't get Nicholas back. Possibly.
Unless that's not Nicholas.
Unless it's not Nicholas.
Which is everyone's favorite theory.
You see me talking to myself? Unless.
Unless. Yeah, I feel like Ava, this could start like a new storyline for Ava around the cover up and her connecting with Austin around that, and then building a relationship and trying to hide it from Victor, but also maybe trying to play Victor. Then there's like the whole Laura and Spencer of it all and her interactions with them. But I feel like Ava, I feel like it's going to be like a whodunit. Because there's so many people who want Nicholas dead or want him to pay for something. There's Ava, there's Finn, there's Liz, there's even Carolyn, like Liz's mom, there's Ryan, there's Heather. Yeah. There's Esme if she ever gets her memory back. There's Spencer, there's Sunny, like there's some there's even Victor. Like there are some people who are more obvious than others, but I think it could be like a more interesting whodunit. And when you have a character like Nicholas, if you're actually going to have him be dead, they haven't, they've had him be dead, dead a couple times. They've never had a whodunit for him. So could be interesting.
And the whodunit could be like on All My Children, where we thought it was Adam, or we thought it
right
Stuart.
Exactly. And I would like it too if his death was covered up for a while. And that's like, it's all actually about Ava trying to get people to believe that he just left town because of the incriminating evidence that Spencer had against him. So that we're also not doing Mourning Nicholas right now.
Yeah.
I mostly just don't want that for Sprina. Clear, like, I just don't, like, I want them to like have a storyline that isn't just grief. They can grieve Nicholas later.
Yeah.
I think it's just more interesting if if it's Ava grappling with, oh, I think I accidentally killed Nicholas, and then trying to make everyone believe that he's alive. That would be.
I would love it, to be honest.
I would love to watch it.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you think Willow's gonna die?
Oof. No, but I think it's gonna be like a last minute save. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna die. Unless she is, and that's why Chad's like, fuck it. Because he did say if you want to stay alive, don't sleep with Michael in his interview.
He knows about the death stick too.
Yes. So I think that just because it's like such a wild, I don't know. I mean, I think that eventually we're gonna have a Nina Willow reconciliation and all of that. So no, I don't think she's gonna die.
I don't actually hate Willow. Like, I have not been one of the people who's like, just die already. Like, I've been like, just neutral. Of everyone in that storyline, like, Willow's the least of my worries. Like, she's like actually like last on my list. Besides Carly, of people who like I could do without on that story. But it would be Nina's would really lose it if Willow died, and I think that would be finally be like stakes and something interesting if they're gonna keep playing out this rivalry. Like at least have some fucking stakes. My God. Besides grandparent visitation and like hugs. They're hugging.
Yo, nobody. She is the hug police.
ACAB includes Nina.
The embrace enforcer. Like, girl, get out of here. Did she just be lurking like a villain?
Just waiting for you to hug
Hug.
someone. Oh, you hugging? Well, we know what that means.
I'm gonna tell everybody.
Just out here in front of everyone in public. You know, do whatever you like to do behind closed doors in your own home, but don't just be like hugging in public. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's like you set me up or something.
Here we go with her.
All right, let's talk about what's gonna happen this week.
Please.
On Monday, Liz takes Finn's advice into account. Chase has a change of heart. Okay. And Laura pleads with Spencer. Also Ava and Nicholas showdown.
Did you see the preview scene that they posted already? It's so good. It's with Laura and Spencer. You should watch it.
Oh. Tuesday, Brad makes a special delivery. I wish that was porny, but it's not going to be. Curtis and Portia get bad news. Probably Stella being like, you know what? I'm out. If I'm not allowed to tell the mess, I gotta go. And Spencer makes a big ask. On Wednesday, Scott gets a shock. Ava reassures Laura. Sure, your Nicholas is just on vacation. Nina shares her dilemma with Ulbrecht. I saw them hugging. Meanwhile, Finn seeks Alexis's expertise, and Sunny is on the outside looking in. On Thursday, Austin delivers news. Liesl takes matters into her own hands. Gregory considers Alexis's offer. Meanwhile, Ava tries to problem solve, and Liz updates Finn. Finally, on Friday, it's Curtis and Portia's wedding day. Meanwhile, TJ and Jordan have a heart-to-heart, and Nina delivers a sentimental gift. A heart necklace, perhaps?
And she went to Claire's and she said, listen, can you put this into threes for me? She leaves one on Nell's grave that Sunny visits with her because apparently Sunny visits Nell's grave. And then she just tries to give the other one to Willow. And then Willow's neck turns green because she don't use that poor shit no more because she a quartermaid.
Well, you know, Sunny likes to visit Nell's grave. He likes to reminisce about when she drugged him and tried to get him to believe that he cheated on her or cheated on Carly with her.
Absolutely. It's the same way that Sante went to Britt's funeral. Dante was like, we have good times. Like that time she...
Thanks for gestating my child. Pretending it was yours. Which also, I loved that story. I was also a Brit and Nicholas shipper.
Okay. Now, let me also be clear. I did love when Nicholas read Elizabeth for telling him the truth.
I loved it.
And then he had to go back
took it back like the next day. But...
he was like, I was on some bullshit. But like, I did laugh when he did it in the first place. So.
It was really good. I loved it. I'm complicated.
Well,
So yeah. You know, why are Liz and Finn talking to each other? Why is Finn every week? I hope to see Finn not in the spoilers so that I can pretend like he's gonna get hooked or something. And every week, I'm disappointed.
Are they putting back Liz and Finn together? Why are they doing this to her?
I know. It's so rude. But I think Nicholas I think this is his last week. He's not in the spoilers after Monday that I've seen at least.
Well, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Nicholas.
Pieces.
Not the real Nicholas. That's not the real Nicholas. Because that scene with Laura, that last scene, that was final.
Yes. It was giving final scenes, for sure.
Oof. Well, thank you for listening to our duo this week. I hope it was not too chaotic. I'm sure it will be when I listen to it back. Just know I had many, many notes that I did not read because I realized they were chaotic when I wrote them. Yeah. Any parting words? I don't have anything. Watch Last of Us. We really enjoyed it. Wakanda Forever is on Disney Plus. I just watched that.
We love Nick Offerman.
We do love a Nick Offerman. You know, there's a restaurant dedicated to him in Illinois. It's a breakfast restaurant. That's BYOB. So if you're in the Chicago area, shout out to Britt. Go to Nick Offerman's restaurant. And that's us. We'll be back next week. Bye, y'all.